Good day, class. Our lesson for today is important theories of leadership. Class, gaya ng management, leadership is also authenticated by various theories. So we have here some important leadership theories are as follows: Blake and Mouton's managerial grid. Next, House's fat goal theory. Next, trait theory. We have transformational leadership, transactional leadership, continuum of leadership behavior, Likert's management system, Hersey Blanchard Model, Fiedler's contingency model. We will proceed now to the theories of leadership. So now we have Blake and Mouton's managerial grid. It is also called leadership grid. So it is depicted in two dimensions of leader behavior. Una, concern for people. So as a leader, you have to be concerned sa mga tao. So you are accommodating people's needs and giving them priority. So in leadership, as a manager, for example, kailangan you have to accommodate. Kailangan makita mo kung ano yung pangangailangan ng tao mo. And of course, you prioritize them. Okay, pangalawa, you have concern for production. Ibig sabihin, you keep in tight schedules, okay, to achieve the organizational goal. Next, we have 5 resulting leadership styles are as follows. So, now we have improver-based management. So, yung mga manager with this approach ay mababa, on both the dimensions and exercise minimum effort to get the work done from subordinates. So, yung leader dito has low concern. Mababa yung concern niya sa kanyang mga for employee satisfaction and work deadlines. So, mababa. At in this leadership style ay may disharmony or yung parang kumbaga walang unity. May disorganization prevail within the organization. So, in this style, the leaders are termed ineffective, wherein their action is merely aimed at preserving job and seniority. Sunod naman dito ay ang task management. Ito ay tinatawag ding dictatorial or parish style. Yung mga leader dito, class, ay ang concern nila is doon sa production. They have less concern for people. So sabi nga, yung dalawang aspeto, concern for people and concern for production. So in this style, mas concern yung leader dito doon sa production. Hindi and have less concern for people. So the employees' needs are not taken care of and they are simply a means to an end. Kumbaga yung mga empleyado dito ay sila lang yung means to achieve the goal ng organization. So ang focus dito is yung production. So the leader believes that efficiency can result only through proper organization of work systems and through elimination of people wherever possible. So kung kinakailangan magtanggal, magtatanggal. Kung kinakailangan magbawas ng tao, magbabawas. Okay? Kasi ang concern lang dito is yung production. Kung malakas yung demand sa production within the organization, of course magdadagdag ng tao. At kung mahina, halimbawa, magbabawas or magtatanggal. So ang concern is, if we say task management, ang concern dito is yung production. So next style is what we call the middle of the road. So yung leader dito, class, ay sinusubukan niyang i-maintain na i-balance yung goal ng company and yung pangangailangan ng tao. So yung concern niya is on the goal of the company and at the same time yung needs ng kanyang mga tao. So it does not push the limit of achievement. Okay? So yung empleyado at yung production, these needs are fully met, okay, by the leader itself. Next, may tinatawag tayong country club. This is a collegial style kung saan sa pamamagitan ng low task and high people orientation, where the leader gives thoughtful attention to the needs of people. Okay, yung leader dito, talagang he is fully attentive to the needs of his people, providing them with a friendly and comfortable environment. So, no pressure at all between the leader and the employee. So, the leader dito, class, he feels that such a treatment with employees will lead to self-motivation. So, isa yun sa mga way to motivate yung kanyang mga tao. Magkaroon ng self-motivation yung kanyang mga tao. And will find people working hard on their own. So, kumbaga yung leader dito ay hands-on. However, a low focus on tasks can hamper production and lead to questionable results. Next, we have team management. Ito yung, according to Blake and Mouton, this is the most effective style. Ito ay sa pamamagitan ng high people and task focus. High concern for the people and at the same time task focus siya. So, yung leader dito, he feels that empowerment, commitment, at pagtitiwala and respect. Ito yung, he believe these are the key elements in creating a team, which is absolutely true. Kailangan ng empowerment or encouragement sa yung mga tao. Kailangan ng commitment, kailangan ng pagtitiwala, kailangan ng respeto sa isa't isa. Which will automatically result in high employee satisfaction and production. So we have advantages of Blake and Mouton's managerial grade. This is used to help managers analyze yung kanilang leadership style sa pamamagitan ng grade training. So ito ay sinasagawa sa pamamagitan ng pag-administer ng questionnaire, maybe in the form of survey na ibibigay sa mga empleyado. Nang sa ganun malaman ng manager sa pamamagitan ng questionnaire na yan, yung concern ng tao for production and the people itself. Number 2, we have house spot goal theory. So it has something to do doon sa expectancy theory motivation developed by the Robert House. So it is based on the premise that an employee's perception of expectancies between his effort and performance. So take note, the effort of the employees and performance is greatly affected by a leader's behavior. So House's theory advocates servant leadership. As per servant leadership theory, ang leadership dito is not viewed as a position of power. Hindi tinitignan yung leadership ay hindi tinitignan bilang position of power just to manipulate or control people. Bagkus ito ay tinitignan as an act to coach, to guide people and facilitate your subordinates. So under House's path theory, we have leadership styles. Number 1, directive. The leader provides guidelines. So, yung leader dito, siya yung nagbibigay ng guidelines, hinahayaan niya yung kanyang mga subordinates or kanyang mga empleyado to know what is expected of them. Kung ano ba yung ini-expect ng isang leader doon sa kanyang empleyado or tao or team. Yung leader dito, he sets performance standards for them. So, lahat ng performance, lahat ng task, may kanya-kanyang standard. Siniset yan ng leader. That is what we call directive. And controls behavior when performance standards are not met. So, may control siya dito. Doon sa kung ano ba yung dapat maging behavior ng kanyang mga empleyado just to achieve the goal. Halimbawa, being optimism, pwede yan sa standard ng performance. Pwedeng punctuality, kailangan maaga ka palagi, ano? Para just to finish the task, ano, na maaga or to meet the deadlines. He makes judicious use of rewards and disciplinary action. So, ang isang leader dito ay mayroon siyang rewards, halimbawa incentives, ano, pwede yan, maging rewards sa mga empleyado. Or kapag may mga pagkakamali mo naman sa empleyado, is yung leader dito ay nag-implement ng disciplinary action. So the style is the same as task-oriented one. So pangalawa, we have supportive. No? Ang supportive, the leader is friendly. Ano? Palakaibigan, magaling makipagkapwa-tao, makisama sa empleyado. No? The leader is friendly towards subordinates. Ganun, walang ilangan. Dapat ang isang leader, approachable yan. Ano? And displays personal concern. Ang isang leader dapat concern sa kanyang mga tao. Concern doon sa needs ng kanyang mga tao, sa kapakanan ng kanyang mga tao, and yung well-being ng kanyang mga tao. So this style is the same as people-oriented leadership. He focus on the people. Ano? People-oriented leadership. Next style we have participative. So yung namumuno dito, namumuno sa organization, isinasali niya yung kanyang mga tao, yung kanyang mga subordinates sa decision making. And binibigyan niya ng pagkakataon na ipahayag yung kanilang opinion, kanilang mga suhestyon. Yun yung binibigay niya sa mga tao niya. So he consults his subordinates on important decisions na may kinalaman sa work, may kinalaman sa goals or task goals, at may kinalaman doon sa tinatahak ng organization na goal. Next, we have achievement-oriented. So, yung leader dito, he sets challenging goals, ano? Challenging tasks na binibigay. Nagbibigay siya ng task sa mga tao niya, ano? Na hindi naman niya ibibigay ito kung alam niyang hindi kaya ng kanyang empleyado. He sets challenging goals and pinapalakas niya yung kanyang mga empleyado. No? Mayroon siyang motivation, encouragement na binibigay sa kanyang empleyado upang sa ganun ay ma-gain yung peak performance, yung level, yung highest level ng performance ng isang empleyado. Ang isang leader dito, siya ay naniniwala ng kanyang mga empleyado ay responsable na tapusin yung mga challenging goals na ibinigay niya. So this is the same as goal-setting theory. Pangatlo, we have the trait theory of leadership. So, ito yung naging basehan doon sa attitude natin, doon sa karakter ng isang leader. Kung siya ba ay successful or unsuccessful. Siya ba ay effective or ineffective. So, ito yung nagiging basis natin. So, bilang isang successful na leader class, ay may kaibahan sila sa mga less effective leaders. Ang isang successful na leader, mayroon siyang interest, mayroon siyang abilities, mayroon siyang katangian na wala sa less effective leaders. So we will identify yung mga katangian ng isang successful na leader. So una, ang isang successful leader, siya ay achievement drive. Okay? Ibig sabihin, pag achievement drive, nandun yung high level of effort na kailangan kung ano yung inumpisahan mo, tapusin mo. Nandun yung talagang you are exerting effort. You have high levels of ambition. Kumbaga, you have that vision for the goal of the organization and for your subordinates. Mayroon kang energy and initiative. Kumbaga, may gana ka in your leadership, may optimism ka in your leadership, then you can impart that to your people. Then, leadership motivation. So, you have that leadership motivation, an intense desire to lead. You have that potential to lead people. You have that potential to impact their lives just to attain the goal of the organization. Next, we have honesty and integrity. Ibig sabihin, ikaw ay mapagkakatiwalaan. You are reliable. You are transparent as a leader. You are open. Next, you have that self-confidence. Pag sinabing self-confidence, belief in one's self, ideas, and ability. Next, we have cognitive ability. If we say cognitive ability, you are capable of exercising good judgment. So, if we say good judgment, yung kumbaga patas ka, hindi ka bias. You have that strong analytical abilities. You have to analyze every situation, within your organization and within your people. And conceptually skilled. Okay? So, knowledge of business. You have that knowledge. Dapat kung isang leader ka or manager ka, you have to be knowledgeable. Depende kung ano yung organization ka nabibilang. You have that knowledge of industry and other technical matters. So, you have emotional maturity. You have to be matured enough on your emotions. Kasi minsan, we are being controlled by our emotions. Lalo na kung intense yung sitwasyon, lalo na kung medyo nasa hindi magandang sitwasyon, yung organization or yung mga tao mo. You have that intense emotion. So, kailangan be matured enough. Kailangan marunong kang mag-adjust, does not suffer from severe psychological disorder. So, kailangan physically and mentally fit ka. And others, you have that charisma as a leader. Ayan. Kailangan yan. And creativity and flexibility. Next, we have the transformational leadership theory. So, transformational leadership may be found at all levels of the organization, like the teams, departments, divisions, and organizations as a whole. So, such leaders are visionary, inspiring, daring, risk-takers, and thoughtful thinkers. So, yung mga leader dito, they have that charismatic appeal. Okay? But charisma alone, ito ay hindi sapat or insufficient for changing the way an organization operates. So for bringing major changes in your organization or within your people, as a leader, as transformational leader, you must exhibit the following 4 factors. Una, you have the so-called inspirational motivation. So you have to motivate your people. You have to motivate every employees, every team of your organization. So, transformational leaders guide followers by providing them with a sense of meaning and challenge. So, as a leader, you work enthusiastically and optimistically to foster the spirit of teamwork and commitment. Ikaw as a leader, ikaw yung mangunguna to initiate teamwork and commitment. So you have to have an inspirational motivation for them. So number 2, you have that intellectual stimulation. So ibig sabihin, the leader must encourage their followers to be innovative and creative. So kailangan ini-encourage mo yung mga subordinates mo, yung mga followers mo, na maging creative sila, maging resourceful, So, you have to encourage new ideas, Ikaw yung nag-set ng mga new ideas to your subordinates, and you should never criticize them publicly for the mistakes committed by them. Kung nagkamali man sila, or let's just say it is an honest mistake, kailangan do not humiliate them. Huwag mo silang ipahiya in public. Much better kakausapin mo siya sa iyong office, yung kayong dalawa lang. Next, we have idealized influence. So sa madaling sabi, yung leader dito, ginagawa mo kung ano yung sinasabi mo. Just to influence. Sa ganon, paniwalaan nila kung ano yung sinasabi mo dahil ginagawa mo. You should walk the talk. You should practice what you preach. So, kailangan ikaw yung mag-set as magandang halimbawa sa iyong mga nasasakupan. Next, we have individualized consideration. So, ikaw bilang isang leader, you have to act as a mentor. Hindi na parang isang boss. Na lahat ikaw yung masusunod. So, kailangan you have to mentor them. You have to guide them. At bigyan mo sila ng reward kung kinakailangan. Kung deserve naman nila ng reward. Why not you gave them that reward? So, ikaw bilang isang leader, you have to, kailangan tratuhin mo sila. Maayos, base sa kanilang, according to their talents and knowledge. You have to empower them. Number 5, we have transactional leadership theory. So, ang transactional style of leadership was first described by Max Weber in 1947 and then by Bernard Bass in 1981. So, leadership style na ito, it is most often used by the managers dahil it focuses on the basic management process gaya ng controlling, organizing, and short-term planning. So, transactional leadership involves motivating and directing followers, primarily through appealing to their own self-interest. So, the power of transactional leaders comes from their formal authority and responsibility in the organization. So, the main goal of the follower or yung mga subordinates, ang goal nila dito is to obey yung instruction ng leader. So, we have assumptions of transactional theory. Una, employees are motivated by reward and punishment. Yes, and that's true. We are motivated by reward and, of course, for the mistakes, punishment. Okay? So, the subordinates have to obey the orders of the superior. Kailangan sumusunod tayo sa utos ng mga nakatatas sa atin. We have the subordinates are not self-motivated. They have to be closely monitored and controlled to get the work done from them. Let us differentiate transactional and transformational leadership. If we say transactional, leadership is responsive. Or, in other words, you are quick to respond or react to a situation or kung ano man yung kailangan within your organization, you are quick to react. If we say transformational, leadership is proactive. Kumbaga, you are anticipating, na-anticipate mo, na-visualize mo na. Bago pa lamang, halimbawa, you have that plan, or goal, or task na binigay sa mga empleyado mo, na-visualize mo na kung ano yung mga magiging positive outcome or negative outcome. That is transformational. So, if we say transactional, works within the organizational culture. Okay, within the organizational culture. If we say transformational, you work to change the organizational culture by implementing new ideas. Sa transactional kasi, kung ano lang yung culture ng organization na yan, kung ano lang yung dating ideas, yun na, hindi na mababago. While in transformational, you are implementing new ideas. You are setting new ideas. Transactional leaders make employees achieve organizational objectives sa pamamagitan ng rewards and punishment. So, transactional yan. Nagbibigay ka ng rewards and punishment sa mga empleyado mo. Sa transformational naman, transformational leaders motivate and empower employees to achieve company's objectives by appealing to higher ideals and moral values. Sa transactional, you motivate followers by appealing to their own self-interest. Sa transformational naman, you motivate your followers by encouraging them to transcend their own interests for those of the group or unit. Next, we have continuum of leadership behavior. So, if we say continuum, ito ay progression or continuous sequence. So, this leadership was originally written in 1958 by Tannenbaum and Schmidt and was later updated in the year 1973. So on continuum, it presents a range of actions related to the degree of authority used by the manager. It has something to do with the authority of a leader or a manager, and to the area of freedom available to non-managers in arriving at decisions. So it has something to do with decision makings, available to non-managers. Ibig sabihin sa yung mga subordinates, they are involved in decision making. We have here the figure on continuum leadership behavior. So on the autocratic style, we have boss-centered leadership. Sa autocratic kasi, yung boss lang, yung nasusunod. Siya lang yung nagdi-decision sa lahat. While in free reign, subordinate-centered leadership. So you are involved in decision-making, kumbaga. There's a democratic way in this style, So we have here the use of authority by manager, area of freedom for subordinates. So nandito, manager makes decisions and announces in autocratic style. It is boss-centered. Manager sells decisions. A manager presents ideas and invites suggestions. Next, manager presents tentative decision, subject to change. If we say tentative, ito ay pwede pang mapalitan. Okay? Next, managers presents. So in the area of freedom for subordinates, managers present problems, get suggestions, and make decisions. Okay? Saan niya kukunin itong mga suggestions sa pagde-decide sa isang bagay sa kanyang mga subordinates? Okay? Ipipresent niya yung problem to solve and gets suggestion from his subordinates and make decisions. So this is subordinate-centered leadership. In this area, class, in this figure, dito sa subordinate-centered leadership, manager defines limits. He asks groups to make decisions. So may collaboration when it comes to decision making. Again, manager permits subordinates to function within limits defined by superior. The manager, you will not be pushed sa isang bagay na talagang hanggang doon lang, yung limit mo or limit ng kanyang mga empleyado. So the focus and the concern here is the subordinates. Subordinate-centered leadership. Number 7, we have Likert's management system. So Likert and his associates studied the patterns and styles of managers for 3 decades at the University of Michigan, USA, and identified a 4-fold model of management systems. The model was developed on the basis of a questionnaire administered to managers in over 200 organizations and research into the performance characteristics of different types of organizations. So yung 4 systems of management system or the 4 leadership styles are identified by Likert sa mga sumusunod. So we have system 1, exploitative, authoritative. So yung responsibility dito lies in the hands ng mga taong nasa matataas ng posisyon, na mas mataas pa kaysa sa managers. So the decisions are imposed on subordinates. At they do not feel na sila ay malaya and to discuss things about sa kanilang work, the nature of their work sa kanilang mga nakatataas. So yung the teamwork or communication dito sa part na ito ay maliit. It is very little. In the system 2, benevolent authoritative, the responsibility lies at the managerial levels. So, but not at the lower levels of the organization. Okay? So, here again, ang subordinates, they do not feel free to discuss things about the job sa kanilang nakatataas. So the teamwork or communication is very little, and motivation is based on a system of rewards. Sa system 1 kasi, ang motivation is based on, kumbaga, kung magkamali ka, pwede kang ma-DA or ma-disciplinary action. Sa system 2, ang nature ng motivation dito is on the basis of a system of rewards. Next, system 3, we have consultative. So, the responsibility dito, class, ay ipinakakalat widely sa organization. So, yung mga nakatataas dito has substantial but not complete confidence in subordinates. Some amount of discussion about job-related things takes place between the superior and subordinates. This is a fair amount of teamwork and communication. It takes place vertically and horizontally. So, yung motivation naman dito, it is based on rewards and involvement in the job. Okay, if you are involved in the job, if you make yourself available on the job, on the task, in accomplishing the goal of the organization. So, ikaw ay pwedeng mabigyan ng reward. That is the motivation on this system. The system 4 naman, participative. So, yung responsibility for achieving the organizational goal is widespread throughout the organization. There's a high level of confidence naman dito that the superior has in his subordinates. There is a high level of teamwork na wala sa iba. May communication, proper communication, and participation ng bawat isa. Between the manager, between the leaders, between the sa mga CEO, for example, may participation. There's a high level of teamwork, communication, and participation. Number 8, we have Hersey Blanchard Model. So according to this model, the leader has to match the leadership style according doon sa readiness of subordinates, okay, which moves in stage and has a cycle. So this theory is also known as the life cycle theory of leadership. So ang theory na ito, it was developed by Paul Hersey and Kenneth Blanchard. And based on the readiness level of the people, the leader is attempting to influence. So the readiness is the extent to which followers have the ability and willingness to accomplish a specific task. So class, in our job readiness, as followers, for example, we have that ability. Because ability is the knowledge, experience, and skill that an individual possesses to do the job, and it is called job readiness. Next, we have willingness. It is the motivation and commitment required to accomplish a given task. If you are willing to a given task, that is what we call motivation and commitment to the organization. So the style of leadership depends on the level of the readiness of the followers. So the readiness is divided into a continuum of 4 levels, which are, number 1, the R1, low follower readiness. It refers to low ability and low willingness of followers. So in other words, those who are unable and insecure. Then R2, low to moderate followers readiness. It refers to low ability and high willingness. Even though low ability, yung mga followers or subordinates, but they have that high willingness of followers. In other words, those who are unable but confident. R3, moderate to high follower readiness. So it refers to high ability and low willingness of followers. In other words, sila yung mga able but insecure. Then R4, high follower readiness, refers to high ability. Mataas yung kanilang abilidad, yung kanilang kakayahan, and high willingness of followers. I think this is the best continuum, the best level, high ability and willingness of followers. So in other words, those who are both able and confident. For each of the four levels of readiness, the leadership style used may be a combination of task and relationship behavior. So task behavior. So extent to which the leader spells out the duties and responsibilities of a follower, which includes providing them direction. Yan yung mga task behavior. Una, direction. Setting goals and defining roles for them. So it is usually a one-way communication exists, which is meant to provide the direction to the followers. So next is we have the relationship behavior. This is extent to which the leader listens to the followers and provides encouragement to them. This is a two-way communication between the leader and the follower. Next, we have Fiedler's contingency model. So, contingency model, the effectiveness of leadership was based on the studies of a wide range of group effectiveness and concentrated on the relationship between leadership and organizational performance. So, sabi dito, if an organization attempts to achieve group effectiveness, kung effective daw ba yung isang team or isang grupo, kailangan ina-assess, ini-evaluate kung ano yung klaseng pamumuno ng isang leader within their organization. Ina-assess, ini-evaluate nila yung kanyang mga katangian or yung kanyang leadership style. So, it is a construct. It assesses the situation faced by the leader and construct a proper match between the two. So class, tignan natin dito. Ito yung assessment. Numbers 1 to 8. Ito yung scale. Obviously, ang pinakamataas dyan is number 8. So Fiedler states that leaders with high LPC scores are relationship-oriented and the ones with low scores are task-oriented. Okay? Kung yung na-reach mo yung pinakamataas na level, ikaw daw ay relationship-oriented. You focus on your relationship within your people or subordinates. Kapag ikaw naman ay low score, and this indicates that you are task-oriented. You focus more on the task. You focus more on the production, for example. Next, we have situational factor. So according to Fiedler, a leader's behavior is dependent upon the favorability of the leadership situation. Mayroon tayong tatlong factors work together to determine how favorable a situation is to a leader. So una, leader-member relations. So the degree to which the leader is trusted and liked by the group members and the willingness of the group members to follow the leader's guidance. Number 2, we have task structure. So the degree to which the group's task has been described as structured or unstructured, and it is been clearly defined, and the extent to which it can be carried out by detailed instructions. The third one, we have position power. So the power of the leader dito is based doon sa kanyang organizational position. Nang sa ganun ay sundin siya ng kanyang sundin yung kanyang leadership, yung kanyang mga directions. He exercises his authority based on his organizational position. So with the help of these three variables, 8 combinations of group task situations were constructed by Fiedler. So these combinations were used to identify the style of the leader. That ends our discussion, class. Thank you and God bless.